you so much, Gretchen. And Megan Nail, I just want to say you love me well, so thank you. All right, next up, we have Ryan McCarty. Ryan is our final speaker for the Power Hour this afternoon. He will be speaking on to drive extraordinary results by letting your employees bring their soul to work.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan McCarty with Culture of Good. I'm so excited to be with you. This is my third year. The first year it started, I think they gave me the 7:30 a.m. slot, and I was so surprised how many of you showed up for that. So I love my HR peeps, and we're going to talk today about not employee engagement. We're actually going to talk about employee fulfillment, which I believe is the new employee engagement. So full disclosure, the first 20 years of my professional career, I was in nonprofit work. I was leading, I was a full-time pastor for some time. I did mission work, very fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful work. Every single day I woke up, the work was hard, yes. The work sometimes was grueling, but I knew that what I was doing had a sense of purpose and mission, and I knew my why. Well, one day I got up on a stage much like this, talking to an audience, and I said, does your why equal your what? Do you have a why of why you go to work every day, what you do every single day? What's your why? And unbeknownst to me, there was a CEO of one of the largest Verizon retailers in the country, and he knew that his employees were showing up to work just for a paycheck, and he wanted to bring that sense of why to his employees, that sense of purpose. And so he asked me a question. He said, Ryan, how do I bring this into my business? I have thousands of employees are scattered across, at that time, 35 states. And I looked back at him and I said, you know what, Scott, you should hire me. And he started laughing. And that's not usually the response you want to get when you ask somebody to hire you. And I looked back at him and I said, listen, if we want to bring this message into your business, let's do it. And so he eventually did hire me, and we started and launched this movement we called a culture of good. See, for 20 years doing that nonprofit missional work, it was so important to me because I knew early on in my life I wanted to seek after something that gave me a sense of purpose. And that's something I believe that every single one of our employees feel and sense all the time. We just don't know how to say it. And if we do know how to say it, how do we execute on that? And so early on in my life, I sought after purposeful, meaningful work. At the early age of 6 years old, I experienced the loss of my mom to suicide. I experienced my father being a drug addict to heroin. It was a really, really difficult time in my life. And that set me on a trajectory to continue to look for how to do meaningful, purposeful things with my life. When I stepped into corporate America, from out of nonprofit to for-profit, I recognized that there was a gap between the two. In for-profit, we have a lot of purpose and mission, and eventually we try to become solvent. In for-profit, we have a great business plan, and we intend to make money and be profitable, and eventually we look for a mission. How do we bring that profitability and purpose together? It's what I call purposability. It's purpose and profit brought together. How do we do this work? I'm going to give you 3 questions that I'm going to ask you to ask your team, you. This is things that you can actually take home with you, take back to work, with your executive team, with the team that you're working with. 3 questions you need to ask yourself and your team to find the purpose of your business. This is purpose beyond a paycheck. This is purpose beyond profitability. This is actually bringing that meaningful, purposeful work into your workplace and giving your employees permission to bring their soul to work every day. Give them an opportunity to be passionate and purposeful with not only what they do every single day, but also knowing why they do it. So you ready for this? All right, here's the 3 questions. Get a piece of paper, a pen, grab your cell phone. I want you to write these things down. These are questions that we work with organizations all over the country and world to ask of themselves in order to find their purpose. Because here's what I know. If your business does not know why it exists beyond profitability, you're really going to have a hard time, if not an impossible time, looking to engage your employees in today's workplace. You have to know the purpose of your business, because whatever you don't embody, your employees will not embrace. So how do you embody purpose? First, you have to find the purpose. How do you do that? Answer these 3 questions with me. And again, this is very purposeful, meaningful work that has the soul of a nonprofit in your for-profit business. First question, here it is. What does your business do, and how would you describe that to an 8-year-old? What does your business do, and how would you describe it to an 8-year-old? I don't want you pontificating with a bunch of business jargon and trying to convince me that you have a meaningful business. Just real simple. What is it to an 8-year-old? What does your business do? If you're in the hotel business, maybe you just provide a home away from home. If you're in logistics, you ship things to people. I need a really simple answer to that first question. What do you do? And how would you describe it to an 8-year-old? Okay, second question. You ready for this? Second question is this. If I were a billionaire, multi-billionaire, now I'm getting excited about this. If I were a multi-billionaire and I sat down with you over some coffee and we were at that table and you looked at me and said, you know what, this is what we do in business and we have a heart to bring this into the world and do some good with it. And I was a multi-billionaire and I looked back and said, you know what, I'm going to give you unlimited funds. But you have to do something. I want you to start a nonprofit, okay? A nonprofit that serves what you do. That's the answer to the first question. That's why you got to answer that first. But it has to serve what you do, and it has to do good in the world, all right? You have unlimited funds. Let's say, okay, maybe limited, $10 billion. $10 billion to change the world in a profound way. What would you do as far as starting a nonprofit that would serve what you do as a business? And then it also makes the world better. What are we looking for in these 2 questions? We're looking for alignment. See, the problem is not that businesses don't have a heart to do good. It's not that we don't have leaders that care. It's that when we're doing good, a lot of times we're misaligned. So the first thing that we're looking for is alignment. We're looking for something very purposeful and passionate that aligns with what we do as a business. All right. So the second question I want you to answer is, if you had unlimited funds, what nonprofit would you start? It has to align with the first question's answer, what you do, and then it has to make the world better. What good would you do as a business if you had unlimited funds to do it? Now, third question, because I know that you're looking at me and you're like, you don't have $10 billion. And I know that. I could probably front you like $100 till next week, but I'm going to show up at your house and ask for it back. Believe me. But the third question is important, because this is what we do. We say this. If you had limited funds, which you do and I do, but you were to do some good that aligned or served that first answer to the question, what you do as a business, what good would you start doing right now with the resources you do have? Because this is what Mother Teresa said. She said, if you can't feed 100, feed 1. And that resonates with me, and I think it needs to resonate with us as a business. With the resources we have, how do we serve what we do? But also, how can we start doing that with action and execute on it? So we answer those 3 questions, and then we commit to action. We make sure that it's aligned, we make sure that it's authentic, and we make sure that we actually act on that good. We start today. We go back to our workplace and we say, you know what? We're going to align why we do what we do together so that our employees can show up to work every day. And you've heard it a lot, I'm sure, over the last couple of days, and you're going to hear more of it. Don't we all want employees that love what they do, love going to work? But let's be honest, some of us don't love it. And if we don't love it, if we don't feel that sense of fulfillment, which is the new employee engagement, then we can't lead in that way as well. And so we answer that question, then we commit to action. Here's the 3 action steps I want you to take. I want you to start doing big good. Big good is enterprise level, everyone going out, doing good together. Maybe it's spread out and you're working remotely, but everybody's online and good is happening throughout the country, throughout the world, in local communities, very grassroots, but you're doing good together and you're sharing that good. So we're still building culture, even though some of us are working from home and we're decentralized all over. And then I want you to do not only big good, but our good. Our good is team driven. It's smaller groups going out and doing good together. Maybe it's your HR department or your IT department, or maybe it's a few people that work in an office or a retail store. But that our good, they commit to doing good in local community. Once you find what your purpose is, then you start taking action on it through big good, our good, and my good. My good is that individual good, where you give your employees opportunity to go and do good through volunteerism, through giving back. This is what the workplace needs, and this is what the world needs, especially right now, getting involved in local communities, giving back, but not just having one day of good every year where everybody puts on the same t-shirt and goes out. I'm talking like consistently acting on the good that we've committed to do, because we answered that third question. What good can we do that aligns with what we do as a business, and it makes a profound impact on the world around us? About 7 years ago, I had a little old lady walk up to me. She was about this tall, and she looked and she said, "Are you Ryan?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Are you Ryan McCarty?" I said, "Yeah, I'm Ryan McCarty." And tears started coming down her face. And I said, why are you crying? I usually don't have that impact on people when I first meet them. And she said, "You don't remember me, but I was your teacher when you were 6 years old. I was your teacher when you lost your mom and your dad was a heroin addict, and they didn't know what to do with you. And so they called me to the funeral. And during class, I would pick you up." And she said 3 words to me that day. 30 years later, after meeting this teacher, her name's Mrs. Parks. Mrs. Parks looked up at me, and through her tears, she looked and said, "Ryan, I just want you to know that I was there." That's the challenge now that I'm challenging you as leaders to live. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, how will we say about our work? What will we say about our business in a way that we can find another Ryan like myself, 6-year-old kid in our local neighborhood, where we do business, we should be doing good, so that we can say with our life and our work, in our workplace, that our employees can bring their soul to work every day because we've committed to do something actionable that really makes the workplace and world better, so that we can say with our life and our work the same 3 words that Mrs. Parks said to me that day: "I was there." Imagine what happens in the workplace when we do that. We found that 93% of employees felt a sense of fulfillment. Employee fulfillment is a new employee engagement. We've worked for years on employee engagement, and still we have the same statistics as we did 10 years ago. It's time that we get beyond just trying to engage people with their minds and engage people with their hearts. What is it that our employees are passionate about? Our customers are passionate about? What does our community need? That's what we're called to do as leaders. So live your life and work in a way that you can say, as Mrs. Parks said to me, "I was there." Thank you so much for letting me be a part of Power Hour. You guys rock. We'll talk to you soon.
Wow. Thank you, Ryan. I need to have you in my ear when I'm working out because I am so energized right now. And thank you to all of our speakers. Margaret, you taught us don't have an occupation, have a calling. Santiago, you shared about agile engagement. Gretchen, you told us love well to lead well. And Ryan, it's all about bring your soul to work. That is fantastic. All right, friends, that is all we have for you today, but be sure to come back bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. breakout session. We have our final keynote speaker of the day, and you don't want to miss Angela Duckworth at 12:15. So behalf of all of my team at First Person and Indiana SHRM, thank you so much for attending this jam-packed Power Hour, and have a great evening.